Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching Healthy Alternative. Today, I want to talk about the benefits of Michael, and today we're going to be talking about...
Today we'll be making one of my favorite soups.
Welcome to the
tomato
R72 challenge.
I am Animated Mel, and I am your mental and wellness coach.
Or, as always, perfection is not needed, but consistency.
We must first lovingly accept what is. You can't heal a body you hate.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of you all for coming. This community is designed to support you in that time. It's really to utilize when things are bad and when you're at your lowest.
I started to learn about emotions. I started to learn about finding root causes, right? Starting to understand addiction and how addiction is not, once again, the issue that we are using a negative stimulus as a coping mechanism.
Part of my mission is to make sure people know that everything we need comes in a natural form. It's already here for us.
I am determined. I am strong. And I am ready.
We must first lovingly accept what is. I often say, you can't heal a body you hate.
This is healthy blood cells. And that's what we're aiming for. So you can see the contrast. Okay? What you do matters.
Thank you all for coming. Be blessed. We are live. All right. Audio, video check. Let me know if you can hear me and see me before we get started. Because we know how technology is. Technology is technology. Technology is not perfect. No one is. Nothing is. We should expect it to mess up. So when y'all tell me you can hear me and see me, we'll be good to go. I've done so many calls where I don't start talking and I have no audio. That's usually the problem. It's usually audio. Audio is the most important part of the whole thing. Sorry for those who are coming in after the fact. We got to wait to make sure this is good before we get going. I got something cool to tell y'all though. All right. We can be heard and we can be seen. I got something cool to tell y'all though. You know what I'm saying? Because today I'm doing this live stream primarily to announce that the next challenge is about to launch. The registration is open. We are going to be doing the R72 challenge with a twist. We're calling this the R72 Parasite Cleanse. So typically with our rolling 72-hour fasting cycle, it's gonna be over the period of about it's roughly 30 days, maybe 35 days. And we usually focus on water fasting, clean eating, preparation, refeed. Those are usually the topics. It was like more of a basic fast, if you will. This time we're going to spice things up and we're putting an emphasis on something we've never done before, which is parasites. We've never done a challenge that really went into depth about parasites. And on the channel in general, I don't talk a lot about parasites. I'm going to talk a little bit about parasites today, but we're going to get deeper in the challenge. So this is more of like something to wet your whistle. When I very first started researching health and wellness, as you guys know, I've told you many times, every wellness practitioner I came across seemed to have their own opinion about what was the cause of all disease. It's like this thing that wellness practitioners do. They're always looking for the root cause. So they all kind of have their opinion. Now, you guys know my opinion is cellular dehydration. But along the way, I paid very close attention to what the other people were saying. And parasites was one of the root causes of all disease that, I heard people talking about. People will tell you that parasites cause cancer. They'll tell you that parasites cause autoimmune disorders. They will tell you that parasites cause viral infections, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, I'm not here to tell you that that's right or wrong. I'm just giving you background on how at least some practitioners have found that parasites impact you. Is the parasite the root cause of it? I don't know. But what I will say is there's a correlation between certain types of parasites in your system, the quantity of parasites in your system, where they are in your system, and disease. So we do understand that there is some correlation there. But I do want to, and when we get into the actual challenge, I'm going to go deeper into this. But there is a stigma that parasites are inherently bad, and I do want to just say they're not inherently bad. One of the most simple ways to understand this is when the body absorbs, when you take in, like, let's say heavy metals, for example, because the heavy metals are not designed to ever be consumed or ingested or put in the human body. Like we're talking like tin and mercury and these inorganic heavy metals. So because the body doesn't have any process for actually digesting, metabolizing, or utilizing these materials, they get stored away. And of course, as we know, they create a negative effect in the body as well, depending on where it is, what type of metal it is. The heavy metals have been tied to a tremendous amount of disease. That's another thing that people will say. They'll say all disease comes from heavy metals. So because we understand heavy metals are bad for us when they get in our body, and we also understand that our body doesn't have a very good solution for dealing with it, understand that that's where parasites come in. Because parasites have the ability to eat, digest, and consume and digest heavy metals. So no different from we've talked about bacteria and how we will blame certain infections or certain diseases on bacteria, but it's not that the bacteria itself is inherently bad. What's bad is the population of the bacteria, the lack of maybe the counter bacteria, something that keeps it in balance, or an environment where we continuously feed this parasite and then it continues to grow. So personally, I think it's important to understand that there is benefit to parasites. They do eat or help you digest certain things that the body cannot digest. And so what that really means is one of the ways you could deal with them is by altering what you ingest, or what you consume holistically. And we got to look at what we're getting injected. We have to look at what we brush our teeth with. We have to look at the clothes we wear, right? We've got to look at our cookware. There's a lot of things that affect our internal system that really fall under that umbrella of consumption. But one of the ways that you can start dealing with parasites is by learning what they feed off of. Because if parasites have a job, let's not just assume they're there to just kill you and steal from you and take from you. I think the symbiotic relationship between animal and parasite is well documented. There's a parasitic worm or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a fish in the ocean where this worm like eats the fish's tongue and then replaces the tongue, and they have some kind of weird symbiotic relationship. Anybody who's into fish, I guess y'all probably know what I'm talking about. But we've been kind of taught that they're bad guys and there's no benefit, and that's just not true. Now, with that being said, when they get out of balance, when they're not in alignment, that's when we start to see disease in the body. Because if they are there to do a job, they should just do their job, right? You don't want them taking over. Parasites have the ability to release neurotoxins. And what that essentially means is they can manipulate your thoughts, your cravings, your emotions. So here's the problem. A lot of you all you know, struggle with the yo-yo. You got the up and the down. You lose a little weight, you gain it back. Maybe you don't gain it all back, or maybe you gain back more than what you started with. If you have a creature in your body that is causing you to want to do something that is not conducive to the path that you're on, then of course it would be advantageous to get rid of that, right? Like we got to understand how things function holistically, and then we can start using that knowledge to our advantage. If you feel like you've done everything, you know, that's like that's the thing, right? We get very frustrated. We feel like we've done everything, nothing's working. Well, if you've never learned how parasites function, the impact they can have on your body holistically, how to get rid of them properly, like if you don't understand those things, then maybe you still got another avenue to go down, right? So my goal with this challenge is to, you know, inform. There's different, the parasites don't exist in one form, right? They have their larva, then they have their I guess their developing stage, and then their you know, the stage where they're mature. And you kind of have to use different tools for each stage of their life cycle. And this is one of the reasons why when people do have parasites that are out of balance or just, you know, really messing them up, you could do a cleanse, or you could do whatever, and then it's like you got to keep doing it like every 6 months, or, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, a couple times a year. You might feel like you have to do it because you're not really solving the problem. Okay, here's the big secret about parasites that nobody really talks about. In order to get rid of, if you have a imbalance, like a gross imbalance, in order to get rid of it, you have to change your environment, which means lifestyle change. Also, you have to deal with the parasites that are there that are out of balance. And then you've got to maintain. If you go back to old habits, then yes, you're probably going to see that, you know, imbalance creep back up. And the big issue is it takes time to really allow the body to fully restore. And because we don't really fully understand how the body works, what resources it truly needs, what's impacting us negatively, it's kind of like this constant uphill battle. So it's important to kind of understand holistically what you have to do with parasites. Like if you're taking a particular herb or something that's designed to kill like the adult parasites, great. One of the things parasites will do, because they're very intelligent, right before they're about to die, they'll lay eggs. So you kill off the adult parasite, but the eggs are there now. So now you get the benefit of feeling great for X amount of weeks or months while the eggs are there dormant. And then once they hatch, you kind of start all over. And then you do your parasite cleanse or whatever again, and they poop out some more eggs before they die. And it's just an endless cycle, right? But ultimately, environment, consumption, I think those are the two biggest impacting factors. And that's what's not talked about very much with parasite cleanses. Most people are just like, take this tea, take this therapy or whatever, and you're good. Just like pretty much anything else that has a negative impact in our system, there's levels to it. But environment, lifestyle, consumption, those things, you can't overstate it. Like it's so important. This is the same, like if we look at, I think I did a video earlier this week where I talked about how, you know, people often will say, oh, you can lose 30 pounds. Okay, so with the R72 challenge, our goal is to lose between 25 and 35 pounds, right? People say, oh, you could lose 35 pounds in a month. Cool, that's what's up, but you're just going to gain it all back. And what do I always say? I say, yeah, you'll gain it back if you go back to your old habits. You can't do a parasite cleanse or, you know, whatever, and then go back to bad habits or old habits and expect them not to return. I don't understand the logic. You know, it's not that the therapy doesn't work. It's just that we, for some reason, where do we develop this mentality that we're going to take a pill, do a therapy, or do something one time, and it's just going to fix the problem forever? Like, I don't understand where that comes from. Can somebody in the chat help me understand where in life do you have a something that is it's really a fundamental lifestyle change issue, right? Like, where in life do you have a fundamentally lifestyle change issue where you could do something one time, like you and your husband or wife, you guys are having marital issues, and you love each other, you want to work it out, you want to work towards a solution. So you go to marriage counseling, you go to one session, it's a great session, right? Maybe you guys hear each other for the first time, or you understand each other better for the first time, and you feel really good about it. And then you go home and you expect after that one session that all your problems are solved. I don't get it. I don't get it. You've lived a life of crime. I don't know, you do one bit, and now all of a sudden you're done. Like, you'll never do crime again. Like, where in life do we see this? So I don't know. When it comes to parasite cleanses, when it comes to weight loss, anything as it relates to your health, these are fundamental lifestyle changes that we have to make. You have to change how you think. You got to change how you see yourself in the world, how you present yourself in the world. Like, I know it sounds annoying. Chris, I don't want to turn my life upside down, right? There's very little cheat codes out there, y'all. There's very little cheat codes. I recently started learning about a new type of water I'm going to be researching. Not going to talk about it yet. You guys know how I am. Till I thoroughly research something, I don't want to bring it to the forefront, because I don't want y'all chasing your tail. I want to make sure I understand things well. And, I've come across some things that sometimes seem to promise, like, look, if you do this one thing, you can still pretty much maintain your poor habits and get a fairly good outcome. I do my best to learn those little tricks and tactics and share that with you all, because I understand that it's difficult to transition from like a standard American diet to eating raw, for example. That's a very big leap, and I don't recommend that. So I try to find little tricks to help you. Like, if you just do this one thing, you'll improve your wellness 60%. Well, that will at least get you on a path where you're starting to feel better, interact more completely. And then as you detox, your mind will detox as well. And so then you'll think more completely. And you'll be like, you know what, maybe I should make these other changes. So it's kind of like a gradual thing. But setting expectations is definitely part of our goal. You know what I mean? Like, this is something that Steven used to talk about a lot. He's very, I'm sure he still is, very big on setting expectations. What should your expectation be going into this challenge, or using a product, or fasting, or whatever? There's a couple different things you should expect. You should expect that it's going to get worse before it gets better. And sometimes there are people who have these amazing transitions, and it just gets better and better and better. But what I find is that people who have that experience are typically very, very ill. And so because they feel so bad anyway, everything feels better. Like, anything you do feels better, right? But I think the majority of people should understand, look, if you're doing something that's supposed to help you, you're probably going to feel worse before you feel better. Now, as we tie that back into the parasites, when the parasites start, okay, it's important to understand the life cycles, what tools you need to use to clean up all the life cycles. But then also, like, once you've killed them, you have to get them out of your system. We talk about this when we talk about bacteria. When you have an imbalance of bacteria in your body and it dies off, you experience some very crazy detox symptoms, because these are like little creatures. They're like little creatures that have, you know, it. Just imagine just trillions or billions of bodies, you know, carcass in your system. So they defecate and they rot and all this other stuff. And so when you kill them, you have to also flush them out. In the challenge, I put together a bundle. Okay, I have a bundle, and it's designed to help you guys kill the parasites in each life cycle and also flush them out of the system. That's super important. The other thing the bundle is going to come with is a supplement to help nourish. So we want to add nutrients and minerals back into the system, and also open up elimination pathways so that when they start defecating, they start doing their thing, you're not getting clogged up by they ish. Okay. And so I do want to let you all know, because I don't have a ton of bundles, but there's plenty available right now because we just launched. But if you guys are interested in getting the bundle that has everything in it, it's a really, really awesome package and a good deal that I was able to put together. As I told you guys before in the last challenge, we've been partnering with Root. So the Root Wellness brand has been allowing us to create these bundles, and I can give you guys a little bit better price on some of the products and things. And so I'm really excited to see what kind of outcomes we get. But we've got the complete bundle. If you guys are interested, you want to go and grab that. I got the link. I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now for you guys to register. If you don't want the bundle, that's fine. If you guys want to do just the regular R72, you could just get the regular registration. So it's basically like the R72 is going to be stacked on top of, or I'm sorry, the Parasite is cleansed is stacked on top of the regular R72. So if you don't want to deal with parasites yet, you're not ready for it, or you feel like you don't need it, you don't have to do it. It's basically a separate thing that's stacked on top, and we'll just have some special training and stuff like that. The challenge starts September 7th. Okay, so that's like 10 days or something like that. I don't know if it's even 10 days. It was 29th. It's like 8 or 9 days. So enjoy your Labor Day. Maybe you was gonna enjoy your Labor Day anyway, but when you guys finish celebrating for Labor Day, I was like, you know what? Let's do the challenge right after Labor Day and give you guys an excuse to cleanse. I think I just talked about this too in that same video I released earlier this week. When you're on that wellness roller coaster, you're gaining weight, you're losing weight, and it's very frustrating. There are ways you can mitigate the damage that you do to yourself when you quote unquote slip up. First thing I'll say is, mentally, I want you guys to get rid of the idea of a cheat day. Okay? Cheat days are designed to set you up for failure. Now, I understand, I get it. I used to work with a lot of fitness enthusiasts, and I know it's a term that, especially people who are into fitness, they like that. It's like it's my cheat day. The concept of it, I don't have a problem with. It's more of the mindset behind it. It's in the word cheat, the cheat day. It's like, oh, I'm cheating on. We usually, that word cheat usually is a negative connotation, you know? So I think what's better is to be intentional. The whole goal and the reason why I want to focus on parasites right now is because I'm finding a lot of people are just out of control. Like they lack control of their cravings and what they put in their mouth and all this type of stuff. And I'm just like, people are not weak, right? Like, I've been working with you guys for nearly a decade now. I don't meet weak people. Most of you all are very strong. Most of you all have done things that, you know, the average person would not do. And you still are dealing with the problem. So the question is, what's the issue? And what I find is it's a multi-layered thing. It's not that you necessarily lack discipline, but just imagine if let's say you were addicted to a hard drug, because I look at the food. I look at the food as socially acceptable, like street drugs. They're street drugs that are socially acceptable, no different from alcohol. Actually, it is a little different from alcohol because people will shame you when you abuse alcohol. But very rarely will anybody shame you for abusing food. So it is a little different, but that makes it worse. But if we look at the addict, would it make sense to have little baggies hidden around the house like Easter eggs for the addict to find when they're craving that drug, right? Like, would that make sense? No. It's like you're encouraging them. So what the parasites do is the parasites, because they eat the bad stuff, they kind of want to encourage you to eat the bad stuff. So that they make it more difficult for you. And this was one of the things that I learned early on, and it drove me up a wall. I hate the idea of something controlling my mind. You know, I like when we think about cravings, and y'all tell me if I'm off base, but when you think about cravings, do you think, man, I could really go for a pizza? I haven't had one in a while, man. I love the cheese, the taste, the flavor. Like, is that how you think about cravings? Like, man, I ain't had a piece of cake. Oh, I could go for some cake right now. Like, is that how it comes out? Or does it come out like, oh, man, these dang on neurotoxins, man, causing me to do something I don't want to do. I hate the fact that I'm being controlled. Like, I don't want to do it, but I can't stop myself. You know, 9 times out of 10, you have almost like a nostalgic relationship with your cravings, to the point where, depending on what you're craving, I mean, you would probably look at it as a good thing. Craving mom's home cooking. It's like, well, what's in that food? What did she use? You know what I mean? What's making you have such a strong connection to that food? And it's because of the chemicals in it, right? And the chemicals, the parasites, as I said earlier, the parasites eat those chemicals, those unnatural chemicals. Now, that is a benefit for us, that the parasites do that, because ultimately they extend our lifespan. They aid in our quality of living. There is that symbiotic relationship. But when it becomes out of balance, now all of a sudden, we can't control ourselves. Okay? So reframe your cravings. It's not something to do on a cheat day, and it's not something to be nostalgic about. You want to be in complete control when you eat that cheesecake. You want to be in completely control when you eat that ice cream, whatever your thing may be. You want to be it needs to be a thing where it's like, I haven't had that in a while. Okay, I'll have some. You want to be in control. Why? So that you don't binge. See, when you give into the cravings, what do you think your likelihood of binging is? Okay, the food industry, they put chemicals in the food to make you want to binge, right? That's why I call them like legal street drugs, because that's what it is. As a matter of fact, at different points in history, maybe even today, they put street drugs in foods to make you crave them. So if you're already weak, right? You're already weak. You've got parasites. Your immune system is low. And then you decide to have a cheat day. You've been doing great for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. You decide to have a cheat day, and you go into your cheat day in a weakened mental state. What do you think your level of control is going to be? And that's my concern. So if you're going to have something, don't have it when you're craving it, right? Be in complete control of your emotions, because then what happens is you can start teaching yourself how to stop. You can start teaching yourself portion control. You guys remember the old Pringle commercials? Once you pop, you can't stop. Y'all remember that? I know y'all remember. Stop playing with me, because y'all, we in the same age bracket. I don't know if Pringle still has those commercials. I don't even watch TV. I don't even know if they have commercials. But Pringles are trifling now. I haven't. I haven't eaten Pringles in, man, at least like 7, 8 years. But the last time I had them, they were nasty. Like they didn't taste the way I remembered them tasting when I was a child. But anyway, why can't you stop? Okay, did you guys know that Pringles aren't actually potato chips? Did anybody in the chat know that? Pringles are not potato chips. Do you know what they are? They're crisps. I think they're called potato crisps. Do you think that they changed the name of it to potato crisps or whatever, or crisps, just because? You think it's just like that was just a marketing thing, like potato crisps? Why? Everybody was familiar with potato chips. As a matter of fact, most people listening probably think Pringles are potato chips. So why would they call them potato crisps? It's because they don't contain enough potato to call them potato chips. You can't sell them as a potato chip because there's not enough potato to call it a potato chip. Isn't that crazy? So when you're eating Pringles, you're not eating potato chips. You're eating a frankenfood made of a whole bunch of synthetics and chemicals, artificial flavors, and dyes with some potato sprinkled in. That's what they are. And in that crazy frankenfood are addictive chemicals. I was listening to, this is a guy by the name of Slim Sperling. Slim Sperling discovered, or what they say rediscovered, what is called tensor rings. All right, tensor rings. Let's see if it's gonna. There you go. It is a twisted copper wire. That's what it is. Hey, excuse my nails too, y'all. I haven't cut them in a while. I notice my nails grow fast sometimes. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Sometimes my nails grow real fast. But anyway, Slim discovered these tensor rings. I'm not going to tell you about the tensor rings. That's not the point. You can look that up on your own if you want to. They're amazing. But he was, before he discovered the tensor rings, like at the early part of his story, he was kind of like a country boy, you know, kind of self-taught, probably what you would consider like just a brilliant guy, maybe not in a conventional sense, but just a brilliant guy, right? And he ended up getting scouted for this program by one of our Ivy League colleges, if I'm not mistaken. And what they wanted him to do is find a mushroom, a chemical in a mushroom that would cause people to, I believe it was to be addicted to like, no, it wasn't addiction. It was to alter the brain chemistry, like how they think. They wanted him to find a chemical that would you could microdose and cause people to be more suggestive, if I remember correctly. If I'm not getting the details exactly right, it's fine. You guys are getting the gist of it. So they wanted him to, find this extract so that they could put it in a product that people would regularly consume, and they would essentially be microdosing themselves with this chemical that makes them more suggestive. You see what I'm saying? It's like a form of mind control. Now, Slim has passed now. This is decades ago when they asked him to do this research. And this is just one man's story, one guy, and he turned them down. But just think about how many people do it. Think about how many people do it and don't even realize the impact, the negative impact it's going to have. Or they do it in the name of something what they think is good, but then the chemical or whatever the research is actually used for something bad. Well, I believe that what we're seeing in big food is the culmination of 100 years of that type of research. They look at the colors. How does the frequency from the colors impact people? The branding. I recently saw a YouTuber who, he's like, I guess he does these repackaging videos where he'll take a candy or a product and he repackages it for a different demographic. So the video I saw, he was repackaging Snickers. It was just the standard regular Snickers bar, okay? So you go to Kroger or Tom Thumb or whatever, you buy a Snickers bar. He was just repackaging. He was rebranding it with marketing tactics. And this man went through 5 different iterations and made the same product look delectable, good, or appropriate to 5 different demographics. It's the same product, but marketing is crazy. It's psychological warfare. And the problem is we don't understand that. No one's told us that. So you've got the food, big food, implementing billions of dollars of research to get us to consume more. Then you've got the parasites that are inside you releasing neurotoxins, getting you to consume more. And then, of course, you've got your own thoughts that are working out why this makes sense. Oh, well, you know, I did good for the week. It's all right if I have this. It's all right if I have that. How can you ever win in this situation? It's not about you not having the amount of discipline you need. It's like you literally you're trying to climb out of a hole with your hands tied behind your back. And if you don't understand that, if you don't understand you've got both hands tied behind your back, you're going to frustrate yourself because you're being put in an environment. It's back in the day, we used to say it's dead mission. It's dead mission. Like before you ever started the process, before you ever began the mission, you were already going to lose. Doesn't that infuriate you? Like that drives me insane. I hate that. It's not even a word I use very often. I hate that. I hate that. Like, don't you guys find it curious? How is 60% of America overweight? How is 60%? That's intentional. There's no way. And also, 60% of Americans are overweight. 80% are obese, which is crazy, out of the 60%, which is crazy. But then if we go back 100 years, nobody's obese. Nobody's obese. Very, very few people overweight. What happened in the past 100 years? It's everything we've been talking about. Our lifestyle changed. Did superstores exist 100 years ago? The conveniences have changed. Technology has changed. I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. My grandfather, when I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, we were looking for the remote for the TV or something. And he just mumbled to himself, that remote's going to make you sick. You know, it's just kind of like offhanded, like he was just mad about it. You know what I mean? Like, you know how older, oh, you know how your grandpa is, you know, just mad, just grumpy, right? It'll make you sick. You know? I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm like, bro, you're tripping. You're tripping. I know what he's talking about now. I know exactly what he's talking about. Modern conveniences are designed to make us lazy. Like right now, I can literally, like, I go out in the summer with a sweater on. I go out in the summer with a sweater on. Why? Because in my house, the AC keeps it a cool temperature. So if it's cooler in my house than what I like it to be, I got a sweater on. When I go outside, yes, it's hot, but I'm only taking 15 steps to the car, turn the car on, AC's blasting. I get out of the car. If I'm going somewhere, I'm probably going inside a building. AC's blasting. Going to the movies, AC's blasting. You know what I'm saying? So like our modern conveniences allow us to live such an unnatural life. And if we don't understand that the conveniences are part of the reason why we're sick, then we're gonna just keep getting tripped up. We're gonna keep falling in that pit. You have to get uncomfortable. I don't know how else to say it. When you detox, you don't feel good. You might feel nauseous, might want to throw up. You might get skin eruptions. You might feel dizzy or faint. You might have diarrhea, bad breath, underarm. Is that uncomfortable? Yes. Is that what's necessary to heal? Yes. Just get comfortable with the idea that you're not going to look, feel, and function the way that you are used to for a period of time. But here's what I could tell you. That dedication, that obedience, going through that process is going to net you something greater than what you currently have. That's what investing is all about. So I think it's funny when we talk about investing and we talk about money, it's easy to invest in a product or a service that you believe in, you think is going to make you some money. You're willing to put that money aside and risk that money for that, right? But when it comes to investing in different ways, as it relates to our health, because it's an investment not to eat. It's a form of an investment not to drink soda. It's a form of investment not to go out and party on the weekends, like, and not drink alcohol or not spend time with your friends because they're in an environment where there's really nothing that you can really do. Or it's not the best environment for you to be in with what you're looking to accomplish. Those are investments. If for you guys who have been following me for a while, you know, I used to talk about your wellness bank. We all have this wellness bank. No different from our, checking and savings account. You got this wellness bank. And when you fast for a day, you put a coin in your wellness bank. You fast for 2 days, you put 2 coins in your wellness bank. You get the concept? So every action you take towards your wellness, you get to deposit that coin in your wellness bank. But you also got to remember, just like with our regular bank accounts, you also take withdrawals. It's not all deposits. You can fast 5 days and then go to the Chinese buffet and withdraw all that money. The goal is put more in your wellness bank than you take out. And there's multiple ways to do it. But I think the easiest way to look at it is, look, man, when I was very first starting and I'm just trying to get my bearings, I'm like, okay, I eat, let's just say, for example, I eat 12 meals a week, right? So if I eat 12 meals a week, what if I can just say 80% of those meals, I'm going to make sure they're healthy? Or 80% of those meals, I'm going to make sure there's some raw living food on my plate. Or 80% of those meals, I'm only going to have water before or after I eat. Like, I'm not going to drink a soda with it or a sweet tea or whatever, And you just kind of gamify it. And then with the other, 2 or 3 meals in the week, then you can kind of do your normal thing, right? If you are regularly detoxing, if you say, okay, Chris, I fast twice a month for 3 days. All right, great. And then you're doing this. You're also eating better more often than you're eating poorly. Maybe every once in a while you do a flush or something like that. Then what's going to end up happening is you're going to put more money in your wellness bank than you're withdrawing. So even though your progress won't be as fast if you're doing everything perfectly, you're still going to be moving towards that direction. Okay. So the race is not given to the swift or the strong, but to he who endureth until the end. That's the key. It's not about being the fastest, the first, or the strongest, or the best. It's about consistency. Can you take a step towards your wellness every day for a week, for a month, for a year. If you can do that, even if it's a baby step, well, babies can get from A to B pretty quick. Anybody who's ever had children, you know, baby steps, yeah, they feet small and all that, but they can move. It's just because you're taking a baby step doesn't mean you're not going to make progress. But this is where managing expectations comes in. So the R72 challenge starts September 7th, right after Labor Day, y'all. We got about 8-9 days or whatever before it starts. I'm gonna put the link in the chat one more time. Link's gonna be in the description and in the comment section. Come join. We are putting on top of the R72 challenge this time, we're gonna be putting the Parasite cleanse on top of it. And that's something you guys, you know, you'll learn and understand, and you'll be able to do it, you know, whenever you want, really. You know, it's probably gonna take some time. If you are dealing with parasites, it's probably going to take some time. It's a combination of the environment, the tools you use, and your level of consistency. But as my good friend Patrick always says, better is better. We beat ourselves up because we don't do stuff perfect. Perfection ain't natural anyway. Don't worry about being perfect. Okay? You just want to be better than you were yesterday. That's it. Incrementally. Doesn't have to be a big thing. All right. Hope you guys got something good out of it. Y'all was pretty quiet in the chat, but I appreciate everyone who did interact. That whole thing with the Pringles it's not just Pringles. Most of the food that you think is real food ain't real food. So pay attention to your ingredient list. Can someone with low iron anemia do the prolonged fast? Yeah, you can do the fast with low iron and anemia. It usually, if you're taking a supplement, well, first of all, you want to make sure, like when you take supplements for like low iron and stuff, you want to make sure that you're taking whole food supplements. Okay, that's the first thing. So just like with the synthetic potato chips and stuff, there's synthetic medicines and vitamins. So you want to do whole food vitamins, which is like herbs and stuff, food. When you fast, this is the beautiful thing. Coming off a long-term fast, you actually will open up the body. It will be more open and receptive to what you put in it. So this could be a good thing or a bad thing. So you find iron-rich foods to refeed on, okay? The other thing you want to do is get yourself a high-quality copper supplement. You have low iron and anemia. You want to get copper. I think it's they usually say about 2 milligrams of copper a day. The dosage will be on the bottle, so whatever. But if you combine the fasting with the copperment supplements, the iron-rich foods, then you're going to see your iron, issues start to go away pretty quickly. Yeah, my mom got iron infusions back in the day. It's very common with women because of their cycles to have issues with iron, anemia, and all this other stuff. But that's a whole nother thing too. Can someone with a bile duct problem take this? What do you mean take this? Are you you're saying, can someone with a bile duct problem do the challenge? I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to. Waiting on results in a week due to extreme low hemoglobin, hoping. Yeah. Here's the problem I see with just like traditional nutrition. Traditional nutrition they still believe what modern medicine believes, which is that you can like section the body off and you can treat, or you can like supply nutrition for like certain areas and aspects of you. Like if you have low iron or whatever, it's like, oh, just supplement iron. It doesn't really work that way. And like the thing that I've noticed, if you take iron supplements And let's say you do see your iron go back to normal. What happens when you stop taking the supplements? Like do you guys continue to have issues? Let's just assume you don't do anything different. You take the supplements. All you're doing is taking the supplements. You're still doing the same thing. You stop taking the supplements. Do you still get the same results? Because if the answer is no, that means that the supplements aren't going to fix it. That's not going to fix the problem. It's always going to be bigger than that. Lifestyle is very important. Sunlight, silica. It's important to get silica, y'all. You need silica in the body. It's one of the reasons why I love Clean Slate. I love Clean Slate for its ability to pull out heavy metals, which would be great if you're looking to get rid of parasites, because you got to get the heavy metals out of your system. Ooh, I didn't even talk about that, probably because I plan on talking about it more in the actual group. But if you have heavy metals in your system in large quantities, yes, the parasites eat them. So they're doing a job. If you want to get rid of the parasites, you can't just kill them all unless you've gotten rid of the heavy metals. You know, you need to get them heavy metals out of your system. They're going to come back. The body uses parasite. Man, I ain't about to get back into this. Y'all ain't about to draw me back in. If y'all want to learn more about it, come join the challenge. But that you can't just kill all the parasites and think, oh, that's going to work. That's not going to work. Supplements never helped over the years. My iron has dropped down to 4. Yeah, I mean, you know, I do. People will say that I've heard where people have said, "Oh, I'm taking the supplement and it worked." And it depends on what type of supplements, right? If whole food supplements are going to be better than the synthetic ones, but they're also going to impact your body differently. It depends. Nah, I ain't about to keep going. I already been on here for an hour. That's why I was trying to keep this short, man. I wasn't even trying to go a whole hour. But yeah, I want y'all to learn about parasites. I want you to learn a little bit more about them while we're going to take a whole segment and focus on that in the challenge. So I want y'all to come join the challenge, and then you'll get to hear all about it. But anybody, if you're dealing with virtually anything, usually you're okay to fast. The big thing I'll say about fasting is not necessarily is fasting okay for you. It's really just about how intense it is. So, you know, if you're malnourished, it's not a good idea to fast for long stints of time. You know, if you have bulimia or you know, like that type of disease, you don't want to be fasting. So there's certain cases where it's not good to fast, but other than that, fasting is not necessarily going to solve all your problems. But what it does is it gives the body resources in order to begin that healing process, you know. But lifestyle, if you fast, you alter your lifestyle, and you do dietary change, you're going to cover 80% of the bases. I mean, it's a good place to start. We just had I don't know if y'all seen Lena the Light came on and shared her story about heart failure. She basically over a weekend found out that she had heart failure, and it was so bad she said she couldn't even lay down, because apparently you can't lay down when your heart is failing like hers was. So she couldn't sleep, and they gave her 12 months to live, and that was over a year ago. She came on the show and talked about the changes she's made over the past, you know, few months this year, and how she completely turned her health around. So fasting's a great tool. Dietary change is a great tool. Water is a great tool. When you combine them, you get incredible, like miraculous outcomes. All right, it's been a long day, y'all. I appreciate you for joining me. If you guys haven't already, let me invite you to AHA Communities real quick. We're going to be doing our challenge. Like if you decide to join the challenge, you're going to get a invitation to AHA Communities. But there is a free site of AHA Communities where you can just join. So I'd like to encourage you all to join. Get you this link. And also invite your friends and family. It's a great positive space to come learn and fellowship with like-minded people. If you guys are having trouble with your wellness, you're bouncing up and down, join a group of people who are on the same path as you. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Don't go too hard at the barbecue. Have fun. Do your fireworks and all that type of stuff, and be ready to clean so that we can get ready for the beginning of the school year. Even if you're not going to school, maybe your children are going to school. I'm from Ohio, so our school year starts later. So this would be like the beginning of the school year back in the day for me. Anyway, that's all I got. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.